Thank you for staying with me on TMI Tuesday. And as we look at EDO GUBER 2020, closing the gap on electoral integrity. And on this discussion with me, starting from my immediate left, I have an accountant, banker, and House of Rep member 2011 to 2015, Chairman E-Parliament Committee, House of Rep, Chairman Appropriations Subcommittee in charge of Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, Defense and National Security Budgets, House of Rep in 2011-2015, and Chairman POI 2020 Governorship Campaign Committee, EDO Federal Constituency, and Vice Chairman POI Media Representation Committee, Honorable Razak Bello Osaige. Thanks for coming, Bello.
Thank you so much for having me.
And next, I have a PDP chieftain, and also he was a former candidate in the House of Rep for the Umude and Onion Federal Constituency in the year 2015, and he is the pioneer chairman at Sok Paddock, Honorable Larry Ogeba. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me here. Good morning, everybody.
Yes, like I did say, we are on the closing the gap on electoral integrity in Edo governorship polls as it hits close. We just barely have 39 days. And I will urge my distinguished gentlemen to stay in line and stay in focus. No castigation of personalities, no castigation of political parties. All we just need to do is to be objective. And starting with you, Honorable Bello Osaige, now we have just a few weeks to the election. And there are these issues, concerns on the need to nip violence in the board as we get close, just as we've had it lately. How do we nip this in the board?
Well, within the limits of the constitutional arrangements that we have as we speak, the election into the various offices is very fundamental to the democratic process. What that means is every 4 years, in line with the provisions of the Constitution, certain offices are expected to be contested. What that therefore means is that I am more interested in the process than the outcome. If the process is good, the outcome is likely to play up representatives that will be loyal and accountable to the electorate. Therefore, I believe that INEC, being the umpire, whose responsibility it is to undertake, to supervise and organize elections, must be up and work within the rules of engagement as clearly established within our laws. Therefore, when you introduce violence into the process, what you are likely to see is a dysfunction. You are likely to see result outcomes are likely to be tampered with.
Okay.
So I clearly believe that all those who are critical stakeholders must play by the rules and work within the rules of engagement. Okay. That is the way I see it.
Okay, political parties are actually figured out in this, and the need for politicians to tell their supporters to stay in line, not to bring any issue that we create or generate to rancor. What's your party doing in this direction?
Well, I think the problem really with our political system is with the critical stakeholders, the politicians, the elites. We have a responsibility to educate our followers, to educate our supporters on the need to work for democracy. I do not believe that in all of this, the parties should sit down and watch this process drift. I expect that we should get better every year. And what I have seen, in fairness to INEC, yes, there are ancillary challenges that we have seen, but the trajectory is the curve is growing to make it better. So we all have a duty to support the efforts of INEC by making sure that we educate our people, by ensuring that we do not allow our youths to be used for pecuniary benefits just because we are desperate to be in office. I think these are the plethora of challenges that, if nipped, it can only get better.
Okay, thank you. Larry GUBER, there's this issue about the seen to reasons urging politicians not to take politics as do or die. Now, we're just a few weeks to the election. What do you see in terms of your party telling stakeholders within the party on the need to ensure that violence is not the order of the day?
Well, thank you very much, Philip. As you very well know, I'm not going to speak on behalf of PDP. I'm a PDP stalwart in the state, but I will also want to talk as a politician. Therefore, for me, as a PDP member, PDP is known for its democratic tenets. PDP is a party that has grown and learned from its mistakes. PDP is a party that has, with time, grown to understand that the people matters when it comes to government and rule of law. So PDP as a party, as of today, we all witness to this, has gone out to educate the people, not only the PDP members, even the general public, that violence is not the answer to winning elections. It's not the solution to winning election. But unfortunately, it is not really the party as per se that determines if an election is going to be violent or not. It is the stakeholders.
It's not the parties.
Not the parties.
But the stakeholders. The stakeholders in the parties?
Yes, the stakeholders. You see, there's no party that has a policy, a blueprint, and say, when we go to election, we're going to, create havoc and violence. Because the parties are, the constitutions of the party are based on rules and regulations. The party rules and regulations must work in tandem with the constitution of the country. So there's no party that will come up and say, okay, our political ideology is violence. Whenever we go to election, we'll kill and maim. No. So PDP is a party known for its democratic tenets. But the problem is this. The politicians and the stakeholders are the problem. Before we started talking a few minutes ago, you said we should not throw aspersions at anybody, and I will not want to mention names. But I have contested elections in the state. And we have seen, you go to election, people go to election, and when they get there, talks will come, kick out the ballot papers, throw it out. Who sponsors those talks? Who are the people or the persons behind those talks? When those talks are arrested, who are the people who goes to the police to build these talks? You see, when you encourage people to violence and you come to the public and behave like a gentleman, as a good man, as a good person, automatically you are not only encouraging violence, you are breeding it. So it is not the parties, and most especially not PDP as a party. Okay. It is the stakeholders. It is the candidates or the aspirants that determines whether election is going to be violent or not. And I think the problem actually is not really that this issue of violence in elections cannot be curbed. It is because those who are supposed to make the laws, those who are supposed to, prepare the ground for the growth of democracy in this country are shying away or running away from responsibilities. You see, why we have been able to create electoral tribunals? Why can't the National Assembly come up with electoral violence tribunal? That when you are even caught competing twice or fighting or even insulting somebody in your polling unit on election day, you'll be arrested and prosecuted. Why? Because people always find a loophole in the law to create problems and take advantage of the law. So when the government or those that are saddled with responsibility do not take it upon themselves to make proper preparations, the INEC is such an umpire. They don't have a right to arrest. They don't have a right to prosecute, except when you contravene the laws, the electoral laws.
Yeah.
Therefore, there should be, to me, a special court, a special tribunal, where you are caught stealing ballot papers, where you are caught with violent weapons or knives or in the area, in the vicinity of the polling units. You will not only be arrested, you will be jailed. And the law should be followed. We should not follow it, this is my brother, this is my friend. When you are arrested, and there are evidence, you go to jail. But in this country, this is the only country I've seen when people take gadgets, guns, and machetes to elections, and they still go scot-free. And you see a thug going out to the public, and you see leaders telling thugs, go and kill and maim, and it is in media, in the social media and everywhere, and nothing is being done about it. You will see people visiting our real father, and they are being attacked, and nothing till today has been done about it. And we have people who even claim they participated in that mayhem, and till today nothing is being done about it. So it is not really the parties that encourages it. It is the stakeholders who encourages these touts and talks to carry out this mayhem, and by the end of the day, they go scot-free.
Thank you. Honorable Bello Sage, how do we strengthen this process? Because you heard what he said, where he stated that even at the point where there's talks, cause mayhem, they are arrested at the point, and at the point again, they are released. Now, how do we fast-track the process to make sure that they are properly prosecuted?
Well, I have the problem we have, because I've taken a course review of our political system. We are where we are now because of the attraction that is ancillary to representation, the perks of office. So I think that we need a recalibration of our political system. It is too attractive. It is too attractive. A man who walked into an office as a councillor yesterday, for instance, or as chairman, managed to get in, maybe powered by the influence of somebody supporting him, suddenly becomes very big, and he's looking at the perks of office. And therefore, for sustainability, he will do everything possible, including putting the lives of people at risk to stay there. So we need a national conversation to evaluate whether the present political arrangement is in our best interest. I see a big problem if we do not sit down to look at it. One, for me, the presidential system of government is too expensive.
It's too expensive.
Yeah. We need to look at our political system to see what fits into the present, plethora of cases and the daunting challenges that we have, which we have not been able to cure. So, if you make that office a bit unattractive, the issue of violence would begin to walk away.
Okay, Honorable Bolosage, we've been on this course where we say that, well, it should be made less attractive.
Yes.
And political pundits are saying that it even starts with the lawmakers.
Yes.
You know, but a situation where they also receive huge allowances seem not to make the process to be fast-tracked. Now, you were a member of the House of Rep 2011 to 2015. What was your efforts in this direction?
You see, let me be honest with you. It's about the majority, what the majority wants. It's not about me as an individual.
Okay.
You know, I would say it's not about me as an individual because my job, for instance, as a lawmaker, was very clearly spelled out in Section 4 of the Constitution. Make laws for the peace, order, and good governance. 2, to ensure that institutions that we create are built around systems, procedure, and the rule of law so that they can deliver the dividends of democracy, and of course 3, representation. So if there's institutional collaboration, everybody is doing what they're supposed to do. You do your job, I do my job. We are likely to see results. But I see a disconnect in the process. And therefore, it's not really about me. What I am saying is that we need a national agenda that will focus, and the radar will pick a political system that works for all of us. Whether this is going to be jump-started by National Assembly, whether the government of the day is going to orchestrate an arrangement that will put critical stakeholders together to discuss this. Because as we speak, this issue of violence is predicated on the perks of office. What you see there, you don't want to leave it. People are desperate. Governors are desperate. Chairmen are desperate. Local government chairmen, everybody is desperate. When you puncture it and you make it less attractive, for instance, I do not see why we should not walk away from this bicameral legislation. There's no reason why we cannot run the National Assembly on part-time basis. So by the time you do that, you see lesser people, lesser number of people coming in to raise their hands to say, look, I need to serve. I remember one day we're having lunch in National Assembly. We're just having a conversation with my colleagues, we're having lunch. And I said, look, this system of government is expensive. And it's corruption, within. And I think we should begin to look at some other political systems that will work for everybody, where everybody is a winner. And of course, 2 of my colleagues just said, what are you talking about? And look, Razak, I borrowed money. I sold my house to get into this, and that I must recover. For me, it was unfortunate. Because why would you want to sell your house? Some people sell their inheritance, bequeathed to them by their parents.
Just to get
on behalf of the family. They won't even inform other members of the family. They sell it. And you go into such an election, you are not coming out good. So what I am saying is that we need to work out an arrangement that will make that office less attractive. Where a governor of a state, for instance, is getting maybe 500, 600, 700 million every 30 days, and you expect such a governor to vacate that seat, it's difficult. When you make it attractive, and you remove that content from the perks of office, you will discover that only very genuine people people who are patriotic with nationalistic fervor. You have nationalistic content in you. You believe that this is my country and I need to add value to the process. Until we get there, the issue of violence, we'll continue to talk about it because the seat is quite attractive. The perks of office, huge. We must deflate it to get the right numbers.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Larry GUBER, do you concur with what he just said in making the office less attractive?
I wouldn't want to go along that line because it is not the perks of office. You see, all over the world, even in America, we are practicing the American or the liberal democracy here. And all over the world, politicians always, get some perks and privileges. So in the case of Nigeria, it's not new. The problem we have is corruption. And what causes corruption? What are the underbellies of corruption?
Yeah.
You see, when you get to office, of course, there are some special privileges that comes to you, are accrues to you naturally, or just like that. Yes, they say power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupt absolutely. Yes, so certain people get to power and they get intoxicated with it. Certain people are so desperate to get power that, you see, take the case in Nigeria. I'm a PDP. I've been a PDP. I've not crisscrossed or whatever.
For some time now?
No, for some time.
You have never?
No.
Okay.
I started my political career in the NPP. When the NPP crashed and died, natural death, and I had to look for another party to participate.
Yes.
That's why I came to PDP, and I've been in the PDP. I've never moved.
Okay.
So what am I trying to say? It is not really the Texas office. It is that the people. I have a political leader who once told me there are some people that are poor physically and they are poor in spirit. And they said the worst poverty is not the physical, it is the spiritual. Most of our politicians are so desperate. And it goes back to the economy. And it goes back to our tradition and culture. Corruption is inherent in our culture. You can't do me a favor. For instance, in Nigeria, you do me a favor. In those days when I was growing up, you see somebody, when you marry my daughter, every year you expect me to come with kola nut and everything to say thank you. Or you do me any favor, I want to reciprocate by saying thank you. That is the beginning of corruption.
So when you say that it's inherent in our culture, are you trying to say that there's nothing we can do? We just have to stay along?
Of course, yes, I'm coming there. So it is part of our culture. It's just that the Western world came and they tried to see it as corruption. When you do, even God, Almighty God, He said, "Thou shalt not have other gods, for I am a jealous God." The truth of the matter is this: you always be grateful for whatever it's done for you. That is our culture. You do me a favor, I will remain grateful. I will always say thank you. So, with time, with the coming of the Europeans and things like that, by showing gratitude, people now took advantage of it and say, if I do you good, you must pay me for it.
You reciprocate.
You reciprocate. So, it is not really the perks of office. It is inherent. It's in our system.
Okay.
Therefore, but the problem is this: those that are very poor in spirit, they cannot bear hunger. You see, take a look at the Nigerian Constitution. Is there anywhere that you say corruption is written? Yes, no. Is there anywhere in Nigeria when you go to the police station that the police will say that the law says give police 20 naira to get bail? None. But when you get bail, you must pay. When you do a favor to somebody, you must pay. So when people get to office, the first thing they do is the gratification, the accolades that goes with it. They get intoxicated.
Okay.
Now, will that stop a man in office to provide just simple basic amenities for his people. Housing, good education, roads, just basic infrastructures. You see, my mother used to tell us, when you are hungry, you cannot read. Therefore, you must have food on the table. And when there is food on the table, you can see the books and the alphabets. You see, our politicians tend, when they get there, they want to acquire for generations yet unborn. That is why I went back to history to say it is inherent in our system, in our culture, that we want to have and have and have, so that whenever I do you a favor, you must pay me. Therefore, it is the culture, the system. In America, you have big law firms who are, call themselves lobbyists. They get paid. They go to politicians, to senators, to congressmen, to influence them. Okay. How do they influence these people? It's also I do for you, you do for me. So, but it is not the perks of, it is not the presidential system of government. Okay. In Japan, the Japanese have democracy, they practice democracy, but they don't practice liberal democracy. In the UK, they have liberal democracy, but they don't practice the presidential system of government. It is we, Nigerians, Africans, that will modify our democracy. A good example, the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty Omonoba Nedo Kwapolopolo, is the Oba of Benin. He has his council of chiefs. The Oba will never take a decision in solo. We see him every day on TV. You see the chiefs sitting around him. He takes decision advised by his people. We saw recently when visitors came and he said, I don't play politics. I don't participate. When the people decide, I support. That is democracy. That is what a leader should be.
Okay, thank you.
I'm coming, sir. The point I'm going to raise here is this. The perks of office is not the problem. Rather, the person in that office.
All right.
There are countries where you have people. In Nigeria, we have people who are shining examples. But in a situation whereby, because of the poverty in spirit and greed, people just want to perpetuate themselves in government. It is not the perks of office, it is the greed that is in the person.
Thank you. In case you're just joining us, it's TMI Tuesday, and I've been having a chat with Honorable Razak Bello Osaige and also with Honorable Larry Ogiva, and we are discussing on the topic EDO GUBER 2020, closing the gap on electoral integrity. Let me come back to you, Honorable Bello. We have issues where the PDP leadership in Edo State made mention of the fact that the former governor of Lagos State and national leader of APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, should stay clear from Edo politics and also from the state governor. Now, what do you make to that?
Before I answer that question, as a direct response to the comment he made about the culture, any culture that you embrace that is antithetical to our diverse social development within the Committee of Nations should be expunged. We should do everything possible to take it out. That you are in an office, you are highly expectant. Somebody is doing you a favor, the culture of giving back. You see, it's culture. I am saying that those things that will not work for us, we should walk away from them. That is the honest truth. Otherwise, what you are instituting is something that will be endemic, and it can only get worse. It now becomes a case of survival of the fittest. Whatever you are able to do, whether you go into robbery, to contest election, you make money for robbery, for changing the system, and then you make money, you become a leader in your constituency. And then we run on such a template. I think it's unfortunate.
Okay.
But having said that, going back to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's issue you are talking about.
Involvement in Edo politics, as alleged by the PDP leadership.
I have not seen any directive. Neither have I heard of any directive flowing from, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as to how Edo should go. I've not seen it. I've not seen any pronouncement. It's a case of people wanting to call a dog a bad name so as to hang it. I have not seen Bola. You see, let us face facts.
Okay.
There are people who are not on the ballot papers in this election. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not on the ballot paper. Oshiomhole is not on the ballot paper. But we hear very venomous and virulent comments coming from the likes of Wiki, coming out to say APC has that they won't have a candidate. You must have a reason why you be saying such a thing. I've not heard such comment coming from a high-profile, party chieftain.
Okay, okay. Let's stay in line. Let's stay in line. Yes, let's stay in line. Let's leave out Wiki.
What I'm saying,
what we're talking about now is
what I'm saying. When you mention Bola, you mention Bola to me.
Yes. So let's stay in line in that direction.
I have not heard any comment.
Okay.
Directing anybody in Edo State to say this election process should be executed this way. We have not seen that.
Okay.
However, you can actually not completely separate the interest of the leaders of a party from what is happening in a particular state. It will be difficult for you to say, oh, they don't have any inputs in the process.
Okay.
It will be very difficult to say.
So by that, are you saying that interference can be allowed?
Whatever interference should be such that it does not dislocate
the process,
or tamper with the process.
Okay.
Because if institutions are built around processes, procedure, and the rule of law, it is expected that if within this sovereignty you do not have a role to play, you should as much as possible try to moderate your involvement. Your interest can be expressed through those who are below those levels. It's okay. And I think it should be more advisory. It should be more advisory. Let people who are on the field tell them that, look, within best practices, this is what I think we should do to win election without necessarily subverting the process. So for me, you really cannot, I've heard so many comments from not only the opposition, from other parties. Mind you, this election is not strictly between PDP and APC. There are other parties.
But the PDP and APC are the major players, as we can see.
But you cannot wish those other parties away.
No, we can't.
They are also critical stakeholders. Do you understand? So I think that let us concentrate on what will add value, what will bring out our best players.
Okay.
Because we are looking at representation. When the process adopted by INEC, since they undertake, they supervise, and also they have the responsibility to ensure that you have a free, fair, and credible election, and that the environment is made conducive for people to exercise their franchise. Those are the critical elements I think we should look at.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Bello Sage. Now, let's look at the aspect of ensuring we have credibility in the polls. Now, what do you see as the role or as the deployment of the military and the police, the security agents in the forthcoming poll? Do you see any challenge in that regard? Larry Ogiva.
Well, before I answer that question, I want to add the point he just raised, that Tinubu is not on the ballot Oshomole isn't on the ballot. Well, you know, when you are on the other side of the table, you see things differently. The late Chief Tony Aneni, who is a father to most politicians in Edo State, was not on the ballot in 2011. He was not on the ballot in 2016. But his name was used and abused. In fact, he was even called a murderer. He was not on the ballot. The man only campaigned for his party. And here we have a man who we all know his predominance in the Southwest and the South-South. We know how he has influenced elections in Osun, in Ondo, tried to do it in Oyo, and so on and so forth. We know his antecedents, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the so-called Jagaban.
Okay, but you can't say anything because
what I'm saying is that
I would expect that you go straight to the question.
I don't want to be that clear.
Don't digress.
You raise the issue,
please. Yes, I raised the issue, but so I mean you should stay in line.
I'm saying
whatever you're going to say about castigating any personality, it can be verified on this platform. So please stay on course.
Of course.
You see, when you use the word "so-called," I think that is not good.
I don't call him.
I don't know. So you use the word "so-called."
I don't call him Jagaban. I call him his name. I didn't call him so-called.
Okay, can we please stay on course?
What I'm going to say is this.
Yes.
Tony Aneni was under the ballot. He was called a murderer. Here in Edo, he's an Edo man, a bona fide Edo man. I want to talk with somebody outside Edo, meddling in the affairs of Edo. Therefore, there is no excuse for that. He should stay in Lagos. Edo is not Lagos. That's for that. The issue of credibility of the election,
deployment of security agents in the election,
you cannot avoid it because we are living in a society where the people are, afraid of politicians when they go to, vote. You see thugs take over police units. When leaders are telling thugs, you are lions and tigers, go and destroy ballot papers before election, you think voters will go on election day and come out and vote?
So you mean that could attract a voter apathy?
Of course. That is what it was intended to be.
Okay.
Therefore, the government has no option than to allow the police do their work on election day.
Basically,
the only thing that is wrong, that will make the election not credible, is to use the police, the army, give them instruction, the so-called federal might, and instruct them go after the other party. That is where the problem is. Everywhere in the world, yes, in the more developed democracies, the army does not come out on election day, but you see the police, patrolling and making sure that there is peace and tranquility, that the people, can vote peacefully and quietly and go home and have tea and in the comfort of their houses. But here in Nigeria, you will see people going to police units with cudgels and machetes. Therefore, to give the people that feeling,
sense of safety,
the people will see the security men parading and standing and watching. They have that confidence that I am protected. So to give our elections credibility, now that we are still, our democracy is still nascent and still growing, I think the police should do everything legitimately and fairly to make sure that the people who are going out to exercise their franchise on the 19th of September, go to the police units and go home and get home safely. They should not use the so-called federal might to intimidate or coerce or force or brutalize those that are not in control of the armed forces and the police. We have seen it in this country that when you are in the opposition, you are endangered. Therefore, I will support, and I will quite agree that the police should give security to the people.
Okay. Okay.
Not to a party, but to the people who are going out to exercise their franchise.
Okay. What do you say about some, like some political pundits do say that the aspect of federal might could pose as a challenge in this forthcoming poll?
Well,
do you worry about that?
I find it quite laughable. Because for 16 years, when PDP was in power, we saw what the likes of, I mean, I don't want to mention names, what some leaders in PDP, what they did with power in this country. Even from my state, what they did. So go and do it that way, go and write those results, and that's it, with an air of finality. As if our sensibilities didn't matter at all. We saw it happen in this country. But in fairness to President Muhammadu Buhari, you will agree with me that the man has displayed that he is a Spartan leader. The use of power, he has moderated. He doesn't get into it, doesn't take decisions in a hurry. He allows it. Otherwise, with anybody, what is happening in Edo State House of Assembly, if it was during President Obasanjo's time, you think that matter would drag to this stage? No. But for over 1 year now, members who were duly elected in the House, they had the police, they had the army, they could have enforced it, the process, because there is verifiable evidence of what happened, that the process was not followed. After, all that needed to be done, you didn't follow the process, but the presidency kept quiet.
But again, we run a federal system of government.
Yes.
Yes. I think that's where the powers are separated or restricted.
Exactly. I understand all of that. Yes. What I am saying is that what I subscribe to is that political parties should go out there and market their agenda. This is what you have for the market your agenda. Those in the policy cockpit of the various governments and those who are coming in now, tell them what you have for them. When you do that, you discover that the voters are not stupid. The voters are not stupid. If you have this matter of change that you are talking about, if you have honored it and worked within those rules of engagement, the people will know. If you say, look, I look at the program that we have set out for those state people, and we have achieved 80% of what we set out, we need another year to be able to, they will know. But a situation where there's difficulty in identifying that, okay, what you have set out to do, have you been able to honor it? You want to ask such a question. You want to look at, is there any empirical evidence? Is there any empirical evidence that supports the statistics for the development of the different sectors? Those are the issues that should form the basis of the nucleus of the campaign.
Okay.
Not going personal, not being abusive. I don't believe in all of that. I was also a player here. If I contested the election to the House of Representatives, I campaigned all through the nooks and crannies. I was very civil. It was an offense for anybody that had the habit of violence to come with me on my train. I never allowed it. Let me also tell you this. When I was in the National Assembly, I had oddlies who worked with me, policemen, mobile policemen. And I noticed that one of them was in the habit of, in an attempt to be overzealous, he thinks he's protecting me. You wind down your glass and you are using the horsewhip on the man who voted for me on the road. That was unacceptable to me. So that's where the discipline starts. I am the one representing the people. Why would you wind down and use a horsewhip on the poor Okada rider because you want to impress me? And I used to tell you, once you do it, I call the SO, the state headquarters, please change this man, I don't want it. Because this man will put you into trouble one day. In an attempt to serve you. That is not what I want. Whether you are PDP, you are APC, you are APGA, you are Labour, having won the election, you must represent everybody. That is the way I see it. So I don't think that the deployment of soldiers and police, except as a cautionary measure to protect those voters. In any case, during elections, you don't see people bringing guns into the centers and the voting. You don't see any gun around there. But what you can do, people can have these catchments of weapons on the road. So you can stop a vehicle if you suspect that, look, this vehicle, I need to find out what is going on here. You can stop them and search.
Mostly as it pertains to political thuggery.
Yes. So we have found out
snatching of ballot boxes.
Yes. So we have found out that in the past we have seen it happen. On election days, people hide guns and all of that in different places, and when they stop them, they cannot explain what they are doing with guns. They are not in uniform. So those are the kind of things that I think we should provide for.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. As we round off now in a few minutes, Larry GUBER, let's look at this menace of vote buying. It has crept into the political space. How do we nip it in the bud going forward?
Well, on the issue of PDP is 16 years in government. PDP was 16 years in government. Goodluck Jonathan was about 6 years in government. And we saw Goodluck Jonathan in 2011 coming to EDO to campaign and say, one man, one vote. It's EDO that started an opposition party when the PDP in the center, was in the center and opposition won EDO. We never used violence, we never forced anybody. In 2016, it repeated itself. In 2015, Goodluck Jonathan handed over power to an opposition party. So that is just to that. So on the issue of
vote
buying, well, we all knew, or we all know how vote buying started. It also started in 2011. We are all witnesses to this. We saw how the party in government put up money and started paying people on the voting day, on election day. So the people, the common man on the street, the voter, you see, when you so pauperize your people, deliberately pauperize your people, when you deliberately make them so weak and economically disempowered, what normally happens is this. They are so hungry that the little crumbs you throw on the floor for them, they run after it. They, at that point in time, they don't care if they are selling their 4 years, their future, their children's future. What is then interested to them is what is on the table for me and my children. How can I feed my children today? So when you now throw pittance to them, they rush after it. Therefore, it is not, I wouldn't blame the people for collecting money and waiting to collect money on the day of election. I would blame the political leaders, the people who started this, corrupting the voters. They are the people that should take it. You already said we shouldn't mention names. But the point is this. It is rather very unfortunate.
Okay.
Very unfortunate. But the people, it's going to take some years. It's going to take time before you can eradicate this problem. And eradicate it is a devil's circle.
Okay. Lastly, let's look at the aspect of signing a peace pact for political parties and players and agreeing to that peace pact. What do you make of that as we go forward?
Well, it's a starting point. Okay. You cannot rule it out. because at least for the major stakeholders, they have a peace pact. You see, the problem is not really with the major stakeholders. Those people will not take their children to go to on election day and start killing themselves or buying votes. They will not take their family members to do that. Certainly they will adhere to it within their family. But to the larger or to the general public, of course, they will tell their people, you know what to do. So the peace pact is a starting point, is a good thing, but it is not the pact itself that is important. It is the implementation.
Okay.
And when you have, if I have an agreement with you to take you to Ring Road, and after this program, the world are saying that I agreed, and after the program I tell you my tire is out, and I cannot go to Ring Road, you can't force me to take you to Ring Road. So the point is, it is putting the mechanism, the structure in place.
Okay.
That is what matters. You see, we really, really need to educate our people.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Honorable Osage, as we round off, what's your opinion over this start and ways of nipping it in the bud, the aspect of the menace of vote buying? What do you think can be done in this direction? Because we experienced that in Ondo and Edo elections previously in 2016, and again we are here again in 2020. How do we nip this?
You see, the question to ask is that if you brought in a government 4 years ago and 4 years after, has my condition changed? Has my condition changed substantially to be able to discourage me from seeing what I can get on the day of election, which is nothing, really? I think the emphasis will be, whatever we are doing, let us assess performance and see whether, how to discourage it. Let's get these people engaged.
Okay, but you said the aspect of if someone's condition has changed.
Yes.
After 4 years,
yes,
or in 4 years.
Yes, within 4 years.
Are you by that saying? Are you by that saying that
yes,
that could make vote buying taking dominance?
Yeah, because their lives have not changed. As far as the quality of their lives have not changed. So they wait for that window to collect. And that is pittance. It is really nothing.
Are you by that suggesting that it can't be nipped?
No, yeah,
because
I'm saying
it's a menace and it's affecting the integrity of the electoral process.
What we need is a reorientation
okay,
of our people. We must continue to speak to them. And at the same time, as an ancillary measure, those in government must continue to see how they can intervene to uplift the quality of lives of our people and develop our environment.
Okay.
I subscribe to removing the imaginary boundaries of partisanship, to build a coalition of a development army, irrespective of party, in such a way that our national prestige is protected. That is the way I see it.
Okay. Thank you. Your reaction over signing of the peace pact? I believe
yes,
most times we've had issues where after signing
I'm very excited
okay,
that INEC is rolling out a plan in the next couple of days to approach, the critical stakeholders, the leadership of the various political parties, to talk to traditional institutions, to talk to members of civil society, to talk to such other groups on the need, to protect this election process. I think that is where we are.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Big thanks for coming, Honorable Bello Osage, on this platform, and big thanks, Honorable Larry Ogeba, for taking our time. Well, this is where we'll call it a wrap, and on the discussion segment, it's still TMI. Don't you go away.